Hi, this is Anna from Exclamation Point, and happy Halloween week, even though when I am filming it, it is mid-September and I am dressed like this. Yay! But yeah, I usually like to make my own Halloween costume, but seeing as there are no events this year, I'm just using something that I found in my closet. I think it looks pretty cool. It's very swooshy. But I am dressed this way because I thought it would be fun because we're going to do 3 STEM-themed Halloween crafts. We're going to make something with perception, we're going to use symmetry to make a spider web, and we're going to make a static electricity ghost. And I think we're actually going to start out with that first craft. So what you're going to need for this one, and you should have most of the stuff in your craft kit, you'll need a marker, you'll need some tissue paper. I'm going to use white tissue paper, but you can use whatever color you want, and you'll need a balloon. So I, at time of filming, am not sure if I'm going to be able to provide you guys balloons. So if you have one at home, that's great. I also, since there is still a pandemic, I highly recommend rinsing off the balloon before you blow it up, or using a pump, even better. So I'm going to go get the rest of my supplies, and you also will need a piece of cardboard to draw on, and get right back to you. So, as mentioned, the first of our crafts is going to use static electricity. And we are going to make some static electricity ghosts. This is going to look really cool. So first of all, this is the one that you will need a balloon for. Again, I recommend rinsing off your balloon or using a pump. And we're going to use some tissue paper, a marker. You can use any color tissue paper or marker you want, some tape, and some scissors. You'll also need a table or another flat surface that you can tape your ghost to. So I am going to see if I can bring my camera down so you can see my cardboard. And I'm going to unfold this sheet of white tissue paper, and I'm going to draw a ghost. And I'm just going to draw like a cartoony Pac-Man-ish, Charlie Brown style ghost. And I'm just going to do it right here. Let's see if I can reverse this image to make it not upside down for you guys. And I'm just going to make a big face and give him a smile. Fill in the eyes. So now I've got a cute little ghost. And the next thing I want to do is cut my ghost out. And mine is about the size of my hand. That's a good size. You don't want it to be too huge. And make sure that when you do this, you do it on top of some cardboard, because that marker is going to bleed right through the tissue paper. So I'm going to cut mine out. I'm going to put my tissue paper aside for now. So I am going to cut out around the outline of my ghost now. Just like this. And I will get back to you once that's all cut out. Okay, so now my ghost is all cut out, and I'm going to put my cardboard aside. And I'm going to bring this up. And I think I'm going to push my computer way back here so you can see what I'm about to do next. So, that is terrible lighting. Let's let that adjust. Alright, now you can see I've also blown up my balloon. And I'm going to take a piece of sticky tape, just normal Scotch tape will work, and I'm going to tape my ghost down to the table. Excuse me, balloon. And I'm just going to put a little piece here, like right here, and a little piece on the end, just enough to tack it down. One more little piece just at the bottom. And now this is where the fun part comes in. This is where we're going to generate some static electricity. And you just want to make sure you've taped the end down. So, I gotta take my hat off. Just put that on the floor. And you're going to take your balloon and rub it on your head for a bit. Just want to generate that static electricity. This will mess up your hair, so like don't do it if you really like how your hair looks. So I'm going to rub that. And we're going to see if we can make our ghost float. And you're going to hold that over your ghost. And now you can see I've got a floating ghost. Let's see if I can do that better. Alright, so I've taken off my hat. My hair's a mess because this is my second time trying this. But I'm going to rub this on my head, like really good. Give it like 20 seconds of rubbing it on your head. Completely mess up my hair. This is how we're going to generate all that static electricity. And once we're done, we'll talk about how that works. But we're going to see if we can make our ghost float. You ready? Alright, here we go. Got a floating ghost. Oh, that's so cool. Here we go. Might take a few tries. It also helps if you tap your ghost with the balloon. I think that's pretty cool. I've actually found, my hair's a disaster, that this works even better when I rub it against my skirt. So try rubbing it against your clothes. And there you go, you can see it floating up. And if you get this to go super well, it's really hard to see on camera, you can get it to stand all the way up. For some reason, my static electricity is not working super well today. There we go, but you can see what it's supposed to do. I'm trying to combine hair and skirt. That's it. That's what we want to see. So how does the static electricity ghost work? Well, according to the website where I found the activity, when you rubbed the balloon on your hair, the balloon picked up electrons from your hair, and the atoms of the balloon became negatively charged. The positively charged atoms in the tissue paper, were then attracted to those negatively charged in the balloon. When they got close enough to each other, the attraction between the atoms was so great that it overcame the force of gravity and caused the ghost to lift off the table. This is a good example of static electricity. I'll see if I can find some more info about static electricity and put it in the Facebook post for this video. Okay, so now that we've done some static electricity with ghosts, our next activity is going to be making something called a thomatrope with a jack-o'-lantern. And this is an activity based on perception. We'll talk a bit about that once we've done the craft. But you will get, I'm cutting off on my big sheet. In your kit, you should get a template that has a jack-o'-lantern and a jack-o'-lantern face and a pumpkin. And I don't know why I'm filming this. Anyway, let's bring that back. So, our next step in our kit is going to use this template that you've received. And the first thing you want to do is cut out each one of these circles. So I'm going to go ahead and cut each one of those out and get right back to you. Okay, so now I've cut out my pumpkin and my jack-o'-lantern face. And the next step is that we want to color in both of these. So I'm going to color in my pumpkin, and then I'm going to color my jack-o'-lantern face the same color. So I think I'm going to use an orange colored pencil to do this. And I'm just going to fill that in completely. And I'm just going to want to color the pumpkin on this side. On this side, you might just want to color in as much of the circle as you can. I'm going to kind of roughly estimate that you want to give it about this much of a circle here. Just about the size of the pumpkin. Because what's going to happen is that these two images are going to magically overlap. And I'll explain more about that once we're putting them together. But I'm going to go ahead and color this in. Okay, so now we colored these out, or colored these in, and you'll see what I mean about the circle. Our next step is to go get a hole puncher, and you're going to punch 2 holes, one on either side. And first you want to line them up. So take your jack-o'-lantern face and put it upside down, and put it on the back of your pumpkin piece. So it'll look like this. You want to make sure that that jack-o'-lantern face is upside down. You see, that's my pumpkin piece because my lighting is not great. And actually, you're going to kind of want to hold this up to a light and line it up so that your your jack-o'-lantern face is centered on your pumpkin. And then set it down just like that. And I have to go out in the library and get a hole puncher. And I'm dressed like a witch. In September. That's going to be fun. No, honestly though, dressing up is always fun. A fun thing about this costume is that you take off the cape and the hat and it's like instant Victorian widow. It's like instantaneous transformation. So that's also very fun. You know, with an Avengers face mask on top of it. Always fun. No, but legit, I always, every year, make up a Halloween costume. So I'm glad I at least had something fun to wear. Alright, I got a hole puncher, so now we can continue. I'm running over my skirt. And I'm also the only person in here, which is why I'm taking off my face mask. I always like to disclose that. But anyway, so we are going to take our picture just exactly as we left it, hold these two together, and do a punch on either side. So I'm going to do a punch, and then I'm going to go right opposite where I punched that, and punch again. So you'll have something like this. 2 even holes on each one. And now we're going to grab a glue stick and some scrap paper, and we're going to glue, let's do this. We're going to glue these two halves together. And remember, we want to make sure that this is lined up upside down to the pumpkin. So they should look like this, and then you'll hold them together like this. I'm going to set that down, and I'm going to put glue all over one side. I'm going to drop my glue stick apparently. And I'm just going to cover that in glue, and this is where your scrap paper comes in for the edges. And I'm just going to get a little more dot more there on that edge. And making sure that my pumpkin is upright, I'm going to take my jack-o'-lantern face upside down, line up the 2 holes I just punched, and just press that together so that you have one thing, like one paper disc. And I'm going to let that sit and dry for a moment while I go and get some string. I would also like to disclose that every single time I turn the camera off, I have just started singing Wicked songs. So I'm having a lot of fun with this outfit. Let this dry for a little bit. And next step is you'll have gotten a couple of pieces of string in your kit, about this long. And you're going to take the first one and string it through one of the holes. Let me take a couple tries. And then just pull that through and tie a knot with both ends of that string. So just tie that closed. Just might need to double knot it so it stays knotted, and you want to leave a big loop like this. Just take a moment to knot that very tight. I'm even going to triple knot mine just to make sure it stays in place. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to take your string and put it through the hole and tie a loop that looks like this. And I'm going to pause that because I can't imagine that's too exciting. Alright, so now we get to the fun part. This is where we're going to have some cool fun with the idea of perception. And I'll explain that as soon as we try the activity. So, one moment. So, I don't know how well this is going to be visible in the video, but it should be super visible on your own. But you're going to take one string in each hand so that you're holding your thomatrope, that's what this is called, like this. And then spin it around like this several times until you feel it. This is going to wind up your strings. You want to make sure you're holding it loose while you do this. And do that about as many times as you want to. I'm sure this is very fun to watch me looking silly doing this. I probably should have made my strings a little bit shorter, but that's okay. And then once you've wound it as much as you'd like, pull on it really tight. And did you see the jack-o'-lantern face appearing on the pumpkin? I'm going to wind it up again, so let's give that another go. Okay, let's try this again. Ready? I saw it that time. Were you guys able to see it? I think that's really cool. And that's actually a really neat example of an optical illusion. And I will go into that now. So how does the thomatrope work? So this is actually something that has to do with perception, which is how your brain processes an image, among other things. But in the case of the thomatrope, when you see an image, the retina of your eye sends visual information back to your brain. However, you can only really, it takes about a 10th or 20th of a second for the retina to process this image. And so when the thomatrope switches images faster than this 10th of a second limit, you're seeing two separate images at once, but your brain combines them into one image. And that's how you happen to see the jack-o'-lantern face and the pumpkin at the same time. And it fools your brain into looking at it as one image, creating an optical illusion. And I feel like I'm not really explaining that super well, so I'm going to see if I can include some information about it in the Facebook post. Alright, so that's going to be the rest of our perception craft. And I'm just going to line mine up like this to use in the future and set that aside. And for our last craft, we're going to be doing something really cool. We're going to be making a spider web with symmetry. And for this craft, all you'll need is a piece of white computer paper or any color you like, a ruler, a pencil. I'm just going to use orange colored pencil because it's Halloween, it's orange, and a pair of scissors. This is not a perfect example, but it's one I made earlier that won't unfold. But this is a good example of what we're going to be making here. So the first thing you want to do is take your paper and fold it in half away from you on the short side. So it's like this. Then, taking the side with the crease, you actually want to first fold it in half again this way. And you're going to be using this as a kind of guideline that you want to take your side with the crease, not the open side, and make sure that the point, line it up with that center line, and then bring it up to about a 60-degree angle so you got something looking like this. This is what it'll look like when it's facing you. Then take your other side and bring that to meet this edge here. So you'll have kind of a cone shape forming. And you just crease that very well as well. Then take your scissors, and I like to line this up first and give myself a guideline. And you're just going to cut that excess off on your guideline. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's a decent amount of paper scrap in this craft, so it's nice to have a recycle bin ready. Then from there, you're going to fold that in half one more time. So you'll have kind of a 90-degree triangle going. Look like this. Then you're going to take your ruler, and on the creased side, the straight side, you're going to go about a centimeter out-ish, about that far out, and draw a line. Then you're going to draw curved lines about the same distance apart all the way down. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. So next step now is next I'm going to go into every other space and color that in. This is going to be kind of a guide sheet. Doesn't matter what color it is because it's going to get cut out. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut alongside each one of those colored in spaces. And I'm going to stop when I get to my line. So it'll look like that. I'm going to go back up and cut the top of that. And then this is the kind of tricky part. You might want to ask an adult for help. Is that you're just going to cut right up along, but only cut out that top part. So you'll see kind of the stripe there is cut out. And then go back and repeat that with each one of the stripes that you filled in. And this can be a little tricky. I do recommend, I don't have non-children scissors handy, but I do recommend using big scissors that are a little easier to use, that cut a little better. And it is very thick. I would compare it to making a paper snowflake if you've ever done that. And it's okay if it doesn't fully come out the first try. It's something that might take a couple tries. But I'm going to go ahead and pause my video because I can't imagine it's fun to watch me cut. Okay, so I finished cutting, and now I've got something that looks like this. I'm going to shove all my scraps aside for now. I'm actually going to bring this back up for our fun part. This is the big reveal. But I'm going to very carefully unfold what I've cut out here. Oh, that looks cool. And now I've got a spider web. I think that looks really neat. And you can see that I did have some loose pieces here, but that's okay. And you can even try, if you want, just cut off those loose pieces and you'll still have a perfectly good spider web. If you want to trim it up a little bit, like I'm going to do here with mine. And just cut. I think that looks super cool. And you could even take some pom-poms and make a little spider to sit in your web, or you could just stick it hanging up somewhere. But I think the really cool part is how each side matches every other side. So we got some cool symmetry going on. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I think that's a really fun paper folding craft you can try out. Yay! So the spider web is actually a great example of reflection symmetry, which occurs when you draw a line and the images on both sides of the line are exactly the same but reflected. So if I were to treat my lines on my spider web as my line of symmetry, excuse me, I can't say that word apparently. So this line here, you notice that this side and this side are exactly alike, as are this side and this side, if we were to use this as our line, or if we were to use the straight line in the middle, this side and this side are exactly alike, even with that little break. So I think that's a really cool example, and I'm going to see if I can even get a little bit more information about this topic in the Facebook post so you can learn more without me rambling through the video and not making much sense. But that is going to be the end of our Halloween crafts today. I know when this goes up, it's only going to be a couple of days before Halloween, so I hope you all have a great Halloween. I hope you have a fun time, even while we're still social distancing. And I hope you have fun with these crafts. Please feel free to take a picture of your crafts and share them in the comments of this post. Show us what you did with your spider web. Show us your cool ghost that you designed. And show us your thomatrope spinning. And I would love to see those. I'll check on the comments and see what you guys post. And again, have a happy Halloween. Check your bag. I hope to have included a couple of fun Halloween buttons in there as well as like a fun trick-or-treat prize. But everyone have a happy Halloween and have a great day. Bye! Let's see if I can actually get this to flow well. Yes, finally. Ah!